everyone. I just want to say I'm feeling a little bit better, but I do have a cough drop in my mouth, so I'll try to keep it to the side so it's not distracting. Because I know that's when people have things in their mouth, it disrupts. But I can't talk without it. So, okay. So today's video is going to be about timeshares and that whole experience whilst on vacation. Like I've mentioned before, my husband is actually filming this video, so I may have him chime in on this. I may not, depending on how I mood, but because we had this experience together, and then I've had a timeshare presentation experience separately. So and both ended up at the same place, which is everyone ended up frustrated and annoyed. So anyway, so the first place I actually experienced this was maybe like 10 or so years ago, actually in Hawaii. Two of my best friends and I took a girls trip out to Oahu. And so, we're kind of like walking down the strip, and there's this sign that says, free luau. Free luau. Sorry, not luau's. Free luau. And I don't even think my friend even read the sign completely. She was like, oh, all we have to do is, it was like pointing to like this location. It's like, all you have to do is just go this way and, get more information about the free luau. Now, for those of you who are not aware of how timeshares work, they generally present some incentive for you to come and listen to a presentation. So they may, depending on where you are, it may be a free luau, it may be I don't want to say cash incentives, but it may be some incentive for you to come. That's how it's presented. And then it's only until you're in this situation where you're like, oh man, this is a presentation. And that's exactly what happened. So my friend didn't read the rest of the sign, so she's like, let's go to this free luau. So of course we go in, and there's tables, and there's people sitting at these tables, all strangers who fell for the same trap. And so you listen to this. So as someone comes up on stage or whatever, and they start to talk, and then it's about how much you're here, so how much you love Hawaii, and you can love Hawaii even more by buying a timeshare here, and this is how it works. And I was kind of as soon as I didn't even know what a timeshare was at that time, but as soon as I realized that this was a presentation to sell something, I was over it. But my friend kind of initially wanted to stay. She's like, well, let's hear him out. And I don't know why she actually did this, because I don't think she was anticipating the rounds of pressure that you get to buy a timeshare. For those of you who don't know what a timeshare is, it's basically you put money towards a house or a condo in whatever location that you're in, and then while you're in hopes of, I guess, you can rent this area out to other people. But I think the trade-off is they have to be in a similar or equally exchangeable location. Is that right, Brian?
I have no idea.
Okay, well that's okay. So basically, I feel timeshares are only beneficial. I think I explained that right, but basically, I don't think timeshares are for the average person. I feel if you're really wealthy, I feel they're beneficial. But for the every average Jane like myself on the street, it's not. It's actually quite a very big investment. So anyways, you're sitting there, and you have the way that this particular one worked was you had me and my friend were sitting at a table, and like I said, it's just rounds of pressure. They put this one person, there's this one presenter who comes to your table and talks about blah 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 blah, and then if you still say no, then another person comes and basically does the same thing, and they kind of try to wear you down to basically you agree to paying for this timeshare in Hawaii. Hawaii is very expensive. Real estate is even more expensive. So it's just, I don't know, it's just very weird to me that people would try to pressure you to purchase a home or a condo or something in Hawaii where your return may not even be that great. So yeah, so basically, and like I said, I mentally checked out. I literally was just sitting there just like this, okay. And my friend was very nice. She's a lot more polite than I am. I mean, I was nice, but you could clearly, my emotions are always over my face. I was so over it. And so she's just getting hit with rounds and rounds and rounds. And then even towards the end, she started getting agitated because no one was taking no for answer. It was just things you like Hawaii? The presenter would be you like Hawaii? Yeah. you're young, yeah. Well, so then buy a timeshare. Like, their reasonings, like, make absolutely no sense. Like, and I feel bad because I feel like a lot of people are, like, pressured into this. Like, they're pressured into buying something that they clearly are not clearly, but it's not something, I feel like it's something that you really need to think about, and they give you absolutely no time. They want you to, like, agree to it on the spot. And then, secondly, like, it just doesn't make any sense how they present it. So, finally, towards the end, you have to basically do this endurance round to even get this luau. And my friend was so pissed off. She basically wasted 2 hours of her time when she could have been, like, on, like, Waikiki Beach or, like, doing something much more pleasant than just sitting to this presentation. So she was mad. We did get the luau, and basically everyone around us had the same thing. You know, they had the same decision where they were like, absolutely, we're not gonna do this. And basically, you know, everyone got their luau tickets, and I saw the exact same people at the luau later on. But yeah, like, it's just one of those things. I will actually say that there's this movie. It's a documentary, the Palace of Versailles. What is the name? Do you know the
Palace of Versailles? Yeah.
The Palace of Versailles. So basically, I mentioned that because it kind of talks about the 2008 market crash. But one of the things, the main guy who's in that movie, like, I think he owned a company that had to do with
a lot of timeshares.
And it went through the same presentations and how they basically, like, pressure people. So really, like, the people who are making this money are, like, the guys who were in this video. I forgot what his name is. It's actually a pretty fascinating documentary. It's interesting and infuriating all at the same time. Okay, so I check it out. So there's that story. And then the second story actually involves my husband and I before we got married. We were in the Dominican Republic for another friend's wedding. We got in the airport, and immediately, as soon as you get out, like, of the airport, there's people just, like, coming out of the woodworks. They know you're American. They know you're, like, kind of, like, bozo-esque. So they're hitting you with, like, oh, you can go to this shopping plaza. We'll take you here. We'll do that. They're saying all these things. And so I don't know how this happened. I'm going to blame my husband. I think he's very sweet, and he doesn't know how to basically tell people to, like, buzz off. So there was this guy who basically, like, kind of talked us into going. He's like, we're going to give you these coupons where you can cash these in from the mall down the street. All you have to do is come to this place and just, say that you were here for, like, 10 minutes. It was something to that effect. My husband, like, paid $20 on the spot, and he's like, okay, I'll give you this $20. Yeah, I think it was like, I give you this $20 when you come to this mall, and then we'll give you the money back.
We were promised a tour and a shopping spree. And of course, not a lot. We weren't really told, at least by this first guy, that there was going to be this big presentation involved.
I knew something was,
Yes, it was supposed to be a tour of a resort and a shopping spree.
Yeah.
And then the presentation was dropped on us when we showed up to the resort.
And my husband is like, again, it was a situation where I was like, here we go again. And it wasn't until I finally, like, went, like, once I stepped foot on the place, I knew what was going to happen. I don't think he realized what happened, but as soon as he did, I was like, here we go again. So you sit there, they present, you go on a tour, it's really nice, it's in the Dominican Republic, you don't get to, you're away from, like, the real Dominican Republic, you're not, you're basically in this, like, island paradise. So they take you around, and then they sit you down in this office, and literally was like, oh, we have offices all over the world, we have timeshares all over the world. Oh, sorry, they didn't call them timeshares, they called them vacation packages or something like that.
Yes, there was a vacation club.
Vacation club, yes.
They had resorts all over the world that, if you pay this yearly fee to this vacation club, you could stay at any of these resorts they have.
And of course, just like with everything, it was something exorbitant. And it's just, and again, it's one of those things where you just don't go to these meetings and just decide, okay, I think I'm going to invest in this timeshare, I'm going to do this vacation club. They're expensive, and I don't feel like that's a decision you could just make on the whim. And if you are, then, like, God help you, because that's so expensive. So, but they do pressure you, like, to make a decision on the spot. So the same thing happened. First guy was telling us about it, and we both were kind of like, no. We're like, no. Then he realized he wasn't getting anywhere, so he brings his boss over. Boss does the same thing, blah, blah, blah. Like, you know, you can stay here, you can stay here. You know, this is how much it costs a month. And I was just like, no, thank you. Like, you know, so basically this was kind of going on for a while. So a 10-minute or so presentation ended up being over like 2 hours. And so basically my husband was over it, and it's like they kept talking until they basically going to weigh you down. Like, they had no intentions of stopping to talk. Like, no matter what you said, it was always a response. So you're just doing this. And I basically said, Brian, we're just going to get up and just walk out. Because that's literally the only thing I could do to shut them up. So finally got to the point, before we got to that point, the guy got really, you could tell he was like frustrated. He was just like, well, if you weren't going to sign up for this, he said something like that. He's like, well, if you were going to sign for this, why'd you even come? And then Brian was like, well, I wanted my $20 back.
Yeah, I wanted my $20 in my shopping spree.
And you could tell he was really annoyed by that too. And he was just like, okay. So he basically got up. He was done with us. He realized he was getting absolutely nowhere. And then we had this kind of slight awkwardness where we like got up and left. And it was like these vouchers were like worthless, because it was just like you had to spend a certain amount anyways to even get, you know, make it even worse something. So immediately, like, Brian, like, again, we wasted 2 hours of our time away from the beautiful Dominican Republic, away from the beach. So yeah, my husband was annoyed. I mean, I was kind of annoyed too, but I think sometimes people need to have those experiences so they realize when it happens again, they can just say like, no thanks. That's how they trap you. Like, I think Brian, the guy who's on, my husband, I think he had a friend who told me this. It was a similar trap where they tried to like, hey, it's a free trip to like Universal Studios, like it was somewhere in Florida. Like, all you have to do, and it was the same thing. So they know how to pull you in, but just so you know, you're going to be pressured. And some people have the the strength to say no, but a lot of people don't, because they don't want to have conflict, and they will make you sign papers. I'm just letting you know, if you ever get caught in a timeshare situation, they will make you. They will pressure you to do it, and it's just like, you just get over it and you leave. That's basically all you can do, you know. So that is my timeshare. I know everyone has to make a living, but I think it's not pleasant. It's just, there's just nothing, unless you are a billionaire and you have no problem spending like gobs of money. But for the average everyday person, it's just listening to someone pressure you is not awesome. So, but though both trips were very nice. Dominican Republic was very nice, as was Hawaii. But yeah, just anywhere you go, if you go anywhere in the world, it's like, if it seems too good to be true, it is too good to be true. Anyways, thank you for listening to this. Have a good night.